Good evening and welcome to the 6 o'clock City Council meeting of March 4th, 2025. Please note that all council members are present. I apologize, it's now 6:05, but I had to use the facilities. With that, I'm going to turn the time over to Vice Chair Heyer to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Please stand, and if you're able, and recite the pledge with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you will, please take a moment of silence with me. Thank you. Next on our agenda is acknowledgements. Are there any acknowledgements from the council members?
Chair, I have one I'd like to make here. So this past weekend, there was an event called Running Up for Air, and we had the event director, Tara Warren, was able to coordinate with Lorenzo Long from the city to involve Ogden City Sustainability as basically one of the primary recipients, along with Weber State Sustainability, for the funds that were raised. And I think, I want to say it was over $30,000 that was brought in with that event. And it just means a lot to, I think, a lot of the athletes that participated to know that the money stayed local. It's an event where basically the athletes run up and down Malin's Peak as many times as they can. And it was my third year participating, and it was a great disappointment for myself, my participation. But that's not what's important. But I do want to say, I was, to all those who did donate, thank you very much. I mean, it's a cause, I think, that to try and draw attention to efforts to improve air quality. I think we all can agree that if we have good air quality, that's a good thing. And our geography makes it difficult for sure. And so if there are times where we can make a difference collectively to improve that air, then I think it's worth every effort to do that. So, but I just want to report back. I think, it was a little over $30,000, and maybe we can have Lorenzo at some point in time talk about what they plan to do with that money. There's not a lot of air quality testing areas in our city, and so they're hoping to add sensors in the area to get a better understanding of how the air quality flows through our through our city, and what, maybe there's some targeted approaches to improve that. So anyway.
Wow, that's awesome.
Chair, I'd like to make an acknowledgement, and this is just a personal acknowledgement to our former council member, Amy Wicks. This past week, her father passed away, and so just wanted to send our best wishes to her, and that's all.
Anybody else? All right. With that, I am going to turn some time over to Councilmember Ritchie to read our next recognition of the Weber County Search and Rescue 80th anniversary. So,
thank you, Chair. And I think I don't think you guys were called last weekend, right, to come out and help anybody? It might have been me, though. And one day maybe we will meet out in the mountains somewhere. So. Anyway, it reads, the Ogden City Council and Mayor proudly recognize Weber County Sheriff Search and Rescue for 80 years of invaluable contributions to the Ogden community. For 8 decades, Weber County Search and Rescue has faithfully served Weber County, responding to calls throughout the region. The team is comprised of 65 dedicated volunteers and 4 Weber County Sheriff deputies, with 20% of its members residing in Ogden. These courageous individuals frequently respond to emergencies within Ogden city limits, risking their lives to protect and support our community. Each year, members of the Weber County Search and Rescue Team dedicate 7,000 volunteer hours to training and responding to an average of 50 incidents. They handle a wide range of emergencies, including rescuing stranded or injured climbers and hikers, locating missing children, hunters, skiers, and snowmobilers, as well as recovering drowning victims and assisting with downed aircraft, all while operating in various weather conditions. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the organization. We are deeply grateful for the immense impact they have had as an invaluable asset to Ogden and the surrounding area. Their tireless efforts and selfless service have made our community safer and more secure. We look forward to their continued dedication and service for many years to come. I'm presented this day, 4th day of March 2025.
Chief Subi and Chief Matthew, if you want to come up real quick, I would love for you guys to also say a few words, and then we would love to bring everyone that's, it looks like they're all in the back row. I don't know. But, well, yeah, maybe
let's
have these guys talk. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Council, thank you so much for giving me just a minute. I appreciate you giving me a chance to speak on behalf of the Ogden City Police Department and our appreciation to search and rescue and the things that they've done in our community and helping our agency. They're true heroes. They're jumping into situations that many of us would never even envision having to jump into to save a life of somebody else, somebody they've never met, somebody they know nothing about. And they're dedicating the time and the effort to do that. The expertise that goes into that goes well beyond the moment that they show up to a rescue, to a search, pulling somebody out of a lake, out of the river, off the mountain. There's so many hours that go into what they're doing before that. And they're dedicating that oftentimes on their own time and they're volunteers, most of them, to the sworn personnel who are out there with them, helping to support them. Having worked at the police department for 24 years, I've firsthand witnessed some of the amazing acts that these individuals step into each and every day. I'm amazed by it. We had a recent situation up at Glassman Pond, and watching how quick they got there, showed up, jumped in, no questions asked. They just did the right things for the right reasons. And from the police department, we truly appreciate each and every one of you for the dedication that you put into our community, what you've done for Weber County as a whole. And the last thing I'll say is 80 years is a long time, which tells you that they've been doing a lot of great things, because an organization doesn't stick around that long if they aren't doing the right things and they aren't a phenomenal group of people. So thank you to you who are serving on it now, to those who served on it before from the police department. We truly appreciate them. So thank you for giving me just a minute to speak.
Thank you, Chief. Council Chair and other council members, I won't repeat what Chief Subi said, but I'll say a couple other things that are a little slightly different. We interact with the search and rescue from the Sheriff's Office on a regular basis up on the East Bench. Now, we were involved in the unfortunate drowning situation, but we interact with them quite regularly because we have the responsibility to provide the medical care to the individual that might be hurt. They have the responsibility to coordinate the rescue portion of the operation. One of the things I can tell you is they've had some legislative efforts in previous years because there's been real problems with relationships in other parts of the state, to the point that some emergency medical providers have been told that if you have to travel more than 100 feet off that dirt road to take care of the patient, you have to call search and rescue, and you can't go do the work and take care of the patient because of relationships, because of dysfunctional relationships. We've never had that experience here. We've had issues before of coordination, and we've always been able to sit down and work those issues out with the Sheriff's Department. We truly stay focused on the 911 caller. That's what our mission is, whether we're wearing a Sheriff's badge, a Fire Department badge, a Police Department badge. It really doesn't matter. And so I would like to thank them as well for 80 years of wonderful service. My entire career, I've had great opportunity to work with wonderful people from the Sheriff's Office. Kylie Slater, which is one of the lieutenants, Mark Horton, which is one of the lieutenants. They're great to work with. I worked with Kylie's dad when his dad was a sheriff, and same type of relationship. Nothing but professional decorum between us and coordination between our departments. We have a wonderful working relationship, and I couldn't ask for anything more. So thank you.
Thanks. Now let's invite them up.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's going to accept?
Who's going to accept? We got some sheriffs or some officers out here. Come, all of you, come on up. Yeah.
Everybody go up.
You can grab that.
Welcome. Go ahead on down the line.
That's all right.
Come on down.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. Thank you.
Dogs too, right? Rescue dogs that are part of your office.
Sorry.
The guys that sat in the back, that's what this was say.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Congratulations.
I'll get you guys to center a little bit this way. There you go. No, you're in the room. Okay, all right. We'll make it. Okay.
Just crowd me out.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, everybody's in. Everybody's in. 1, 2, 3. Another one. For me. 1, 2.
Brenda?
Yeah.
Let's get
think we were
Chiefs in
ordered
there.
to do
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Get in. Please.
We're ordered.
I get the front row to shift one body this way. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Lieutenant Horton or Lieutenant Slater, would anyone, either one of you want to say a few words or both? I don't want to.
No, we just want to say thank you for the opportunity. 80 years is a long time, and like both chiefs explained, these are volunteers. These guys come out on the weekends to do their training whenever they're called. Most of them are leaving work, giving up pay to volunteer and help the residents of Weber County, and that includes everybody that recreates here. And to your word earlier, we actually got called out twice last weekend, I think. We've been very busy, and the help goes beyond Weber County. With some of the technology and training that we have compared to some of the other agencies, we travel a lot. Recently, we've been to Cache County, Davis County, and Rich County all within the last 3 weeks. And so they're very active and very professional when they do that. And I can't say enough about what they do for everybody in Weber County. But thank you again for this honor. We do truly appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you. Comments?
I do have a comment, Chair. Before everybody leaves, I used to be a part of a sister organization to the search and rescue. I was on the underwater search and recovery. We didn't get there quick enough to save anybody, but my associations with your broader organization certainly taught me about the value of volunteers and the passion that was all there. It was just wonderful to be part of that kind of an organization, and you guys do it really well. So thank you so much for your service there.
Also, just for your info, not accepting the running, but we do have our general meeting at 7.
That's okay. Dine and dash. That's how it is. Thank you. I know. Next on our agenda is approval of minutes. First, the joint session of January 14th, 2025. Councilmember Myers.
Yes, I've had a privilege of reviewing the joint session minutes of January 14th, 2025, and find them to be correct.
Thank you. The special meeting of January 14th, 2025. Councilmember Graff.
Yes, Chair, I have reviewed those minutes and find them to be correct to the best of my recollection.
Great. The work session of January 21st, 2025. Councilmember Blair.
Yeah, although I wouldn't call it a privilege, I did review these minutes and found them to be accurate.
And the regular meeting of January 21st, 2025. Councilmember Ritchie.
Yep. Yes, Chair, I've reviewed the minutes, found them to be accurate, and would make a motion to adopt the minutes as they are.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Ritchie, second by Councilmember Myers. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? They are always a delight to read. They're much better when they're like recent past, so thank you. Next on our agenda is a public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 2024-25 budget amendment. Justin.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, council members, for the opportunity to come and present this budget opening to you tonight. It's a pretty simple budget opening, except for I didn't do the right dollar amount in my slide. It's not 100,000 in the packet. It's actually $1 million. So, as part of the BDO lease revenue ordinance that we have, one of the items that we have funded over the years has been $1 million towards quality neighborhoods. And so each year, as part of our proposed budget, we normally include that in there. That was included in the fiscal year 25 budget. This proposal tonight would be to appropriate funds received this year that normally we would appropriate next year and recognize that this year, the $1 million that would be then transferred out into the quality neighborhoods in the RDA. And so there's two actions. The first one is the ordinance for the city, which would be to recognize that we're going to transfer $1 million out of the general fund, not 100,000. And then in the RDA meeting, there'll be a second action, a resolution for there. So is there any questions on the city portion of this budget action?
Any questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing, so is there anyone in the room or online that would like to speak to this?
Kerry Wayne. I noticed this has been going on for 5 years, and I was wondering, there's other parts of the city, the east side, central, seems to be getting all the attention. Was wondering, could that not be rotated around through different areas of the city? I believe there's other areas that could use just as much attention, and they don't see it. So I was wondering if we could do something to help them out as well. Okay.
Great. Carrie, I'm sorry, did you state your name and I just missed that? Thanks.
Chair, seeing no more movement.
I thought I saw somebody online.
Somebody online? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, the Heath Sato.
Hi, Heath Sato, Ogden resident. I just wanted to get a clarification if this is having to do with covering the cost of buying the Aspen house. I didn't quite follow it too well in the work session. I'd appreciate that clarification. Thanks.
All right, Chair, not seeing any other action folks here, I'd say I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to close the public hearing by Councilmember Ritchie, second by Councilmember Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Let's answer a couple of questions, and I wasn't quite sure I'm not sure what Mr. Wayne was asking as far as rotating the money around the rest of the city.
I think he was saying that it ought to be used around the whole town and not just in a particular area, which it is not specifically anchored to a particular community. However, it has mostly been used there. It is not anchored to that. We can use it other places.
And then just a clarification of covering the cost of the Aspen house. I will answer that and then maybe tag with a team with the mayor. It is money that it will go into the Quality Neighborhood Fund, of which we will be using that to cover the cost of purchasing the Aspen Cove property.
Yeah, I would just add, it's money that had been already planned to be allocated for the next, am I not on? I got a light on. Do I have it? Hello? Maybe not. Anyway, I'll just talk really loud. Maybe that helps, but that it's already been allocated, but it's for the next budget year, and we're just advancing it forward for that purpose. So it's not money that hadn't previously determined to go into that.
I was just can I just add one more point of clarification? We haven't determined that we're using it for that cost. We'll be considering that after we get more details.
Thank you, Councilmember Chaburka. Yes, and that is going to be, I think, in a transmittal, if I'm not mistaken, next week, or through a transmittal this week, and for us to consider next week as a real estate purchase agreement. So that is correct. Thank you. Any other comments from council members? Any other discussion? You'd like some comments, Mayor?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the concentration of using Quality Neighborhood Initiative funds, specifically at East Central, is noted. I do see opportunity, and we are working on some broader initiatives for the north end of town that I'm excited to dig further into. Also some planning on the West Ogden side, especially related to the 24th Street interchange. There's a lot of investment at the state and federal and local level on the west end, and we want to make sure that we're planning on the west side of town just as much as we're planning for the central part. But also the north end of town has a lot of working class, blue collar families, a lot of existing housing that meets the definition of first time home buyer. That there's a lot of good opportunity to help on the north side too, and make opportunity available for people and for families up north too. So that's something that we're working on, and might come with the 5-year cycle for our HUD grants, which is upcoming. Thanks.
Chair, sorry, if there's no further comment. Mine's working great.
Yeah.
If there's no further comment, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2025-8.
I'll second.
I'll give it, I'll do this side. This was a motion by Councilmember Blair, second by Councilmember Graff to adopt the proposed ordinance 2025-8. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Chaburka?
Aye.
Councilmember Graff?
Aye.
Councilmember Myers?
Aye.
Councilmember Ritchie?
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer?
Aye.
Chair White?
Aye. That passes. Next on our agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding concerns or ideas on any topic.
Chair, could I inject a little bit before we start taking public comment? Just to reiterate the city council meetings civility statement says the council appreciates public comments and participation. We request that an atmosphere of mutual respect and civility be maintained during our proceedings tonight. Elected officials, city staff, presenters, and citizens shall be dignified, respectful, and courteous during city council meetings. The city values all opinions and points of view as long as they are presented in a civil manner. The council will not tolerate personal attacks, rudeness, disrespectful comments, insults, name-calling, or belittling comments. We desire to maintain an environment where everyone feels safe in expressing their opinions. Clapping, shouting, booing during meetings is not permitted. I'm not sure how Mr. Wayne's shirt does not violate that civility. But we'll see how it goes.
Okay, I'm here to talk about the Aspen care. It seems like that everybody's talking about it and saying that basically it's dead and they're tamping down the dirt on it. I don't know if it's been spoke about enough about the heartache of being homeless. I think all of y'all have children, and I know there's been concern about being able to afford a home in Ogden. And I'm thinking that, the open conversation needs to happen. I know that this has been taken before the legislature now, trying to do an end run. It's not right. It should be settled here. Ogden, again, I'll use the words of the mayor, spirit of abundance. You have the well of resources that those 25 homeless people, chronically homeless, need every day. And to haul them up to Eden or hauling them off to Plain City or wherever in Weber County and expecting them that, again, if you're homeless, you're looking for meal, you're looking for transportation. Those are the things that those people need. And the best way to get them back into society as productive members of society is to help them get a home, help them establish it. That's been proven over and over and over again. You can go online and there's study after study. The Sheriff Arbonne has tried to do something similar, help people get housing that are coming out of incarceration and giving them a decent start and helping them get inducted back into society. And that's what I think needs to happen here. I think, again, Aspen House, you're looking at people who are going to have supervision, and I think that's a key thing to have, is that there's going to be case managers on site. There's going to be a way for, so that they're not running loose in the neighborhood or whatever. But again, Ogden has the ability, and I hope that you have the heart to reach out to these 25 people and give them a home for once. Let them get back into society, and let's make it so that it's a rotational thing, so that people can get into society and that they're not left broken and on the streets. I drive down West 33rd and it just breaks my heart to see those people down there living in tents. Again, this is a way to do it properly. And they have the funding. It's not even coming out of your pocket. Again, it's something that needs to happen. And I hope that you'll have the heart to overcome the objections that have been raised, because I don't think they're realistic. We need to be the type of people we should be. And I hope that you can do that. Okay, thank you much.
Thanks, Kerry.
Good job, Kerry.
Go on online. Heath Sato.
Hi, Heath Sato, Ogden resident. In that spirit of showing mutual respect, I think the administration and or council at times needs to be perfectly clear with the public what they're doing. I understand after asking that this money is being forwarded to this year to help pay for the Aspen House, which we're planning on purchasing. I assume it's pretty much a done deal. And I just wish that had been mentioned before public comment so everybody knows what we're actually talking about. And on that note of transparency and mutual respect, I did not hear in the work session when the Aspen House was spoken about that the county was leveraged by using legislation at the state capitol, and that never came up. And that legislation's now been canceled now that we've made a deal, but they can bring it back up if they need to. There's a lot to this, but I just don't feel we're getting the transparency we were promised. I just want everything to be out there, what we're doing, if you felt like that was the best move, that was how the county needed to be manipulated to get what Ogden wanted, fine. Just tell us. Let us know what's going on. We don't need to be finding out, other ways. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Heath. Travis, come on up.
Hi, Travis Pate. I think the dynamic that I yet to hear too much is Women's History Month this month, and I'd like to celebrate the aspect of that. I grew up with probably at least 10 moms at the Eccles Art Center, so I think that's one of the things that's most notable to me. And so I'd invite you all to just be at a place that's dear to me this Friday, which is the Women the Creative Edge show that opens this Friday as part of the Art Stroll. So I think that's what I'd celebrate. And then obviously my history and historic preservation. If we could still look at Block 16, the original Women's Crisis Center, the Crittenden home, which Ogden City Planning still has it on their earmark that it could be demolished in a minute if townhomes go in on that block. And that's just tragic. I've been promoting it for 10 years, and so I'm already now 3 years behind. It took 7 years to fix my street light. So I'm now owed 3 more years, I guess, if we could look at that and look and say, what's the plan? So the Nine Rails Creative District was created by a woman and contracted with a women-owned business. And so I think that's celebrated. And yet Planning Vision says, oh, well, this cottages is more a recommendation. It's not really in the plan, but it's in the plan for cottages for that block. So I'd say for as much as women have meant to me in my life, and to celebrate F.E. Spencer, who was Hiram H. Spencer, former state legislator for the state of Utah when they created the state. His wife designed 2555 Jefferson, designed the apartments here that are on 25th and Adams, now torn down. Her own home. I mean, basically, there's a lot of things that are just done that she said, if I could do it over again, I'd be an architect. And to hear a woman clear at the back of the turn of the last century was saying she could be an architect. And so I think that that history in that block and saying, where are we? We need to refocus. Thank you.
Thanks, Travis.
Good evening. I just want to reiterate what he was just saying.
State your name real quick.
So I'm Marcus Carr. I have a nonprofit, Growing Unified Development, and we focus on a lot of our education and our people. I am a native of Ogden, grew up here most of my life, and I just want to iterate what he said that, when I go down to 33rd and below Wall, and I see those children. Like I really see children out here with their mothers sleeping. Just yesterday, matter of fact, I was just on the phone because I had this girl email me that she's sleeping in a truck with 2 of her kids, a Chihuahua in her truck down below 33rd and Wall. And I am going to get her some food and stuff. So we have a serious problem here, but I also seen it in Salt Lake as well. Every summer we go out there and we hand out water and do stuff like that. But since I came back home to my hometown, I'm realizing that the problem is growing out here as well. We have to get these children. It's heartbreaking to see the children more than anything that's out there when it's cold. So I'm going to help a mother and 2 of her kids and her dog that's sleeping in her truck right now. I came out of my own pocket to get her 2 new tires for her truck. And we sat at AutoZone and fixed some of the stuff on her truck so she can have proper heating. So I changed her thermostat and everything. So I sat there, and luckily I have good friends at AutoZone that was helping me, and including a couple of workers. So we do have a problem. It's more than just 25 from what I've seen. But the main thing we need to do is the humanity of these children and the mothers, and what do we have to do? What's the source of the problems? How can we help as nonprofits and as a community that we need to be? Seeing these children is heartbreaking. And I mean, just helping that lady the other day was heartbreaking, and even on the email with her just not too long ago. So he has a good point. We're growing into a serious problem here. And, Ogden City needs to take care of Ogden City. The main thing, if anything, we have to get these children and these parents off the street, the help that they need. What problems do they have? We got to get them the proper resources. And we do have, we do have the funding. It's all how we really do this as a city and together. And that's all I wanted to say, but he has a good point. But it's more than 25. To see these children, I come before the council tonight I know a lot of you.
Thanks, Marcus.
You know, and I just want to be and do my part within the community. I come here in God honesty about what I see below 33rd and Wall, and we have to do something about it.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Marcus.
guys.
Let's go online real quick to Teresa. Sorry, Teresa, you're still on mute. 9, star 9. You're still on mute, Teresa. I don't know if you're... And it is star 9, right? No, just unmute her. Oh. Oh, she's gone. Well, maybe she'll give us a call back in or get back on. All right. Is there anyone else? Bob?
Madam Chair, members of the council, Your Honor, I should have brought a bottle of water. Excuse me. The legislation at the state that's been referred to a couple of times tonight is legislation that would not have been enacted before the 7th of May of this year. And so I think it's important to understand that Weber Human Services did not take that as leverage in any way, shape, or form. We could have gone ahead with the action that was being discussed. I've learned in marriage, in my relationships with others, in organizational relationships, and in political relationships, that sometimes when you assess a situation, it's important to understand and gracefully accept a loss in order to have a win. And the loss in this case is the inability to house 25 people on the timeline that we had hoped for. And we apparently are going to lose $600,000 that would have been usable from ARPA funds. And so those things are regrettable. I've been involved in government and public service and nonprofit organizations for 50 years. And the one thing I've seen that I did not like is when one government entity would get into a battle with another. And I've never once seen anything productive come out of that. And so as we assess, I know that you haven't taken an official vote, but we've talked to all of you several times, and we've assessed where your thoughts are and where your vote is and that sort of thing. And after a meeting with Commissioner Frohr and His Honor and a phone call with the chair of the council, I think we've come to a general understanding that we want the city, the county, and the nonprofits in this community to work together to find appropriate places to house the homeless people. And even though it's delayed, I think we've come out of discussions with a very positive, collaborative notion that we will move ahead with these things as expeditiously as we possibly can. Sometimes in these situations, we don't always win, but we need to look for a win, and I think the win is that Ogden City and Weber County will actually have stronger relationships in the future. And when I talk about Weber County, we're talking about the entities, the nonprofits, and the other organizations that exist, and the same with Ogden City. And so I just want to thank you for the many, many hours you've spent on this, and especially thank those who have been supportive of us, and just have nothing but the best wishes for each one of you as we move ahead. And I think the commitment is there for us all to do some very positive things together, and including you helping us find some other property, and all of us together helping other cities understand that they have a responsibility in this housing issue as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Quickly state your name.
Robert Hunter, and I live in Ogden. And Madam Chair, if you'll permit me, I have a little story I'd like to tell. It's very brief. Okay.
Just a little.
I have some very good friends in state leadership, and they're being active right now, as we all understand. There's a lot to make fun of at the state legislature, and there are even people that we sometimes take advantage of making fun of because they're there to be made fun of. But the other night, two of my friends, two of those state leaders, were talking with one another, and one of them came with the perfect tag for a certain member of the legislature. They both got a really hearty laugh out of it, and went on discussing the foolish things that were being proposed from their observation and that sort of thing. One of them, on his way home from the Capitol the other night, called me, as he sometimes does, and he said, he told me about the conversation between the two of them, and he said, the gentleman who came up with that perfect caption called me the next morning, and he said, I want to apologize for doing that. He said, I try to be a good example, and I wasn't being a very good example when I did that. We all need to make sure that we lessen, albeit comical things, but negative things that we say about one another and the way we address one another. And I just thought that was so cool and so big of that person and so gentlemanly. And it's an example that I want to try to follow. And in these days when we see what's happening in national politics and might be happening right now as presentations are being made in Washington, that we all need to keep in mind that kindness will take us where we need to go, and collaborative efforts will get the progress that our people expect of us. Thanks for giving me that extra time.
Thanks. Just looking to see. No. See, Linda was on, but no.
Make it back on.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments? All right. Comments from the mayor.
Thank you. And thank you to those who've commented. Marcus, on the woman you're referring to, let's talk, because we do have resources and expertise that can help. One thing that, and get into Mr. Wayne's comments, hoping that we have a heart. One thing that we do here is we've got homeless service advocates that engage directly with people, find out what their needs are, and can often place them in housing. But that doesn't come for free. And so we also have relations with nonprofit that provides the money to help house people that are housable in that moment where upfront cash is needed. And to any of you guys that donated on your personal side, thank you. But just this last week, text messages go around here and people chip in to house people every day. And a lot of good people contribute to that. So thank you to all those that do, because there's a lot of good people with good hearts in this place. And that's just something that doesn't get seen, but it's important that you know, because there's potential that we could help. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Thank you for your comments, Bob. I have long felt like nobody has won in any of this. It has never felt like a win. I think I've personally learned a lot of lessons. And one thing that you said that I really appreciated when we sat in my office with you, me, Commissioner Frower, and we had Chair White on the phone, was that you felt like you were backed in a corner because of the timelines around the funding. And I felt the same way. I've often felt backed into a corner. And nobody wins when partners both feel backed into a corner. The circumstances just have not been good for any of us. It's just been the hardest project of all of them. And honestly, we've worked really well with the county in a lot of projects. And I do think that we have a lot to be proud of in that regard. But this project has presented the most challenging circumstances of them all. And I had certainly had some realizations along the way, such as who do I communicate with at the Housing Authority? And I can say that there were some honest miscommunications because we weren't communicating with the right people at the right times. As I reflect on that, there's an honest reason for it. The Weaver Housing Authority used to be associated with the county. And on January 1st, that changed. I didn't know that. I'd heard talk about it, but that probably changes who to communicate with, who the principals are, and how the communication on their side's working. There's no ill will in that. Things changed, and I didn't know. And it was actually a comment that Councilmember Chaburka made to me that made me wonder, that helped me get to the bottom of that. And so, as it relates to the legislation, I actually was really communicative with the member of the board of the Housing Authority about it, because I was asked and presented with three options, as I've said repeatedly, by the board chair of the Housing Authority. And that one of those options was for us to purchase the property and help make the Housing Authority whole in so doing. And I said, that's something I'm willing to look into and work on, because I think that it's important that the Housing Authority remains whole. And I said that it's important that we have some assurances that we're not going to be in this position anymore. And that I'd like that assurance to be as strong as possible. And I remember walking out of that meeting with one of the board members, and we thought that was a reasonable thing. And so when Representative Wilcox reached out to me, because he had opened a bill file that I didn't realize, based on input that he had heard from members in the community in that neighborhood, not because I asked him to, and he asked for my input, and I was happy to provide it. And I thought that I did it in good faith and in transparency and communication with the Housing Authority at the time. What people don't realize is that I go through great lengths to respect boundaries. I go to great lengths to respect the boundaries of this council, because I've been on the council before. And I want them to have their autonomy. I think it's important. I think they appreciate that. It makes some things harder, I'll admit, but it's better this way. And it's important that we do the same for the legislature. There's also laws that I am mindful of when it comes to working with the legislature, and it's not my bill file to share. For me to have shared it before it was made public would be a breach of the law. I'm not going to do that. But I thought I was being transparent and communicative with the Housing Authority at the time. Turns out, for honest reasons, that didn't turn out to be the case, and for that, I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry for taking steps to protect our city, especially when I felt like I was backed into a corner. And I'm really glad we don't feel that way anymore. And I'm really glad that we had a good talk, and we had a hard talk and a good talk, and we landed in a good place. It's not ideal for anybody. Nobody wins. But it was so helpful that Bob Hunter called everybody to the table and said, what are we going to do? So Bob, thank you for that. We needed it. Because we are good people that do have good hearts. Ogden City has Lantern House, St. Anne's. We support the biggest homeless advocate group in outreach and engagement in the state of Utah. We are just this week fielded numerous questions from out of state cities asking for input on our approach because they want to replicate it outside the state as well. We do it on the police side and on the fire side. No one else does that. We support shelters for victims of domestic abuse. We support a shelter for youth. We support a shelter for veterans. Ogden City does a lot and will continue to. We also support somewhere around 85% of all of the deeply subsidized housing units in the entire county, even though we're 34% of the county population. Ogden City does its share and more, and we will continue to. There is more that we will do. That I commit. In fact, during this project, we celebrated 56 people that were housed under a project that we helped and participated in through the Ogden Housing Authority, and we'll continue to do that. We're pursuing a second phase, in fact. So to say that we don't care or we don't do anything is false. It's wrong. It's just wrong. Now, we also have other policies in our city that and approaches that we take, and that this project has always been contradictory to. And I can't undo all of the past. We can only fix how we move forward. And so I really am thankful that the council has stuck in there and said, well, they don't want the housing authority to not be whole either. And because moving forward, we need the Weber Housing Authority, and we need the Ogden Housing Authority, and we need the relationship with the county, and we need the relationships with all the nonprofits, because we have a county-wide challenge, not just a city challenge. We have a county-wide challenge to house people. And it is our desire to see the county, all of the county, not the county commission or the county government, all of the cities and partners in all of Weber County across the board participating and helping to resolve it. I'm glad we were able to step up, provide the code blue. I wish it hadn't been late, but we were hoping that we would have some help from others. We didn't get it. From other cities, we didn't get it. So we stepped up again. And we'll continue to step up when no one else will. But until others step up, there are times that we just have to, I don't know, put our foot down, I guess, but it sure doesn't feel like a win. It only feels like a loss for everybody. And for that, I wish we could go back in time, apparently 5 years in time. But anyway, we're all here doing our best, regardless of what people call us, regardless of the names, regardless of the attacks, regardless of the friends that say and do things that are personal, demeaning, and hurtful. Yet we arrive, we show up, we do what we came here to do. We do the right things and for the right reasons, and we do them in the right ways, even though sometimes we're human, sometimes we're fallible. But I sleep well at night knowing that I operate in a way that is ethical, operate within the bounds of the law, no doubt. You can accuse me of whatever you want. Just because you say it doesn't make it true. But I will always stand up for Ogden, and I always want to do it standing with partners when I can. And we have done it time and time and time again, and even more. And this time it was even harder, and moving forward we're going to. And I'm glad that we are not in the position that we were. And I'm thankful to Bob for helping to make that happen. Thanks for your leadership.
Thanks, Mayor. Any other comments, council members?
Chair, I would just say last Friday we had the opportunity to go tour the Marshall White Center. And I just want to thank the administration, particularly Justin and Taylor and Ed and all their teams for taking the time to show us that as we walked through. I think we were there just over an hour, but it was fun to see how far they've come, where they're at, looking towards opening early part of this summer, hopefully. So, but the possible programming and the events and the activities that facility can house, I think is going to be great and a game changer for our community. So it was neat to see it. It was neat to be able to tour it, and I just applaud those that are working on that and getting it keeping it on track and keeping it hopefully within budget, but moving it forward, because it'll be a wonderful asset in our community, and I think the programming and the activities that it can house will be wonderful for all of our residents and people throughout the county. So it was neat to see, and just thanks to everyone for making that available to us.
Yeah.
So
really awesome. Hopefully, May 5th opening, hopefully. Hoping. Other council members?
I just want to say thanks to the mayor for his comments. This has obviously been a tough issue, and also I want to say thank you to all of those who are involved in helping the homeless in our community, because it is significant. And I think at times it's felt like, man, if you guys don't approve this, you don't care about the homeless, right? And I'm like, man, I just think about all the things that the city does and with the partners to address the issue. And yeah, it's still a problem. And I know that there needs to be more work done. And this isn't saying that we don't have an appetite to try and help out when we can. So anyway, I just wanted to, it's been a conflicting issue and something that's been challenging with, but I think the mayor summed up a lot of my thoughts. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
Madam Chair, I too would like to say thanks to Mayor Nadolski for his leadership on this issue. It's been perplexing and challenging, and it's moved a lot around. But I also want to say thanks to Bob Hunter for being a great statesman, giving us a good example of how, as a legislative body, we should work together with others. And thanks, Bob, for that. And I want to say thanks to my friend Marcus Carr. Great job in our community. We need more men like you. Thanks very much. That's all I have.
Good point. Councilman?
Chair, I got a couple of comments. I think that it's always kind of perplexed me that we get a lot of people standing at this mic asking us to do continually more and more and more and more in this space, which is a wholesome thing to do, and I don't think any of us would disagree. This one issue, because it didn't follow our city's housing policy guiding principles, was pretty distasteful. But I don't think anybody had any motive to do any harm to those who were disadvantaged. But I do wonder how many of those same people attend some of our neighboring cities' council meetings and ask for the same thing, which have a lot of resources that, well, Ogden has 40%. We don't get tax revenue off of 40% of our property because of government participation in government buildings, nonprofits, one thing or another. And we also have a pretty high poverty level. So all the money that we do have that provide policing and fire, parks, public works, all of those kind of things. I think we do have a handicap because of some of those things, and I wonder how many other city councils have people standing at their podium asking for their cities to participate in helping the disadvantaged. It just seems like it's always Ogden, always Ogden, always Ogden. And it's evidenced by 85% of the subsidized and affordable housing being contained in a population of 33% of the county. And as I said many times, this thing was a much bigger thing than our compassion level. It was just a lot bigger issue than whether we were compassionate or not. So I think I just wish we could get off of that topic.
Thank you. I just want to make a few comments. I made a few earlier in our work session, but I do want to thank the administration and really working at coming together. I do want to thank Bob Hunter and Commissioner Frohr for coming to the table. Mayor, you and I have while you were on this side, we had a few of our headbutting sessions together. And I just want to say that it's sometimes difficult to come together and have honest conversations with each other and really expose ourselves to why we don't want to do something. And I just want to kudos to the administration for me pushing back and saying things like, no, that the council needs to have that information before it goes to the general public at a time when the mayor wanted to be more communicative or really out there and try to explain why we were doing the things that we were doing. And so I will share some of the negative comments that you got, because I felt like we needed to be collectively on board at the same time. And so I appreciate that from your side, because I know that was difficult from administration side. And then I also, it's a heavy task. There's 7 of us up here with 7 very different ideas of how the city should be growing, and it was a difficult task for all of us in all of our. I don't know. I'm sure you all had hours of conversations with each other trying to figure out where this fit in your compass. And so I really appreciate what we did as a council, and then staff supporting us in all of that as well. So thank you for everyone. And I think we started off, and I think, Mayor, you said it, I want everybody to be at the table. And you held to that, and I appreciate that you were able to do that, and still, thankfully, statesmen like Mr. Hunter was able to bring us together. So thank you for that. So we're still not done. We have next week we're gonna decide on whether we will purchase the Aspen project, but I think we're one step closer by being able to fund it. So, any other comments? All right. Well then.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right. We have a motion by Councilmember Ritchie, second by Councilmember Myers. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have another quick special redevelopment agency next, and so if you want to hang out, you sure can. There's not a public comment. There is a public hearing. Thank you. All right. Good evening and welcome to the Special Redevelopment Agency of the March 4th, 2025 date. Please note that all board members are present. With that, we have a public hearing, and it's on proposed fiscal year 2024-25 budget amendment. Justin Sorensen.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, board members. I did get the numbers right on this one. Just want to point that out. So before you is a proposed resolution for the board to consider that will recognize an action that you took on the city side to transfer funds from BDO into the RDA Housing Fund into the Quality Neighborhoods Initiative. So it would recognize that transfer in and then budget that $1 million, increase the budget available for quality neighborhoods. So with that, that's the proposed ordinance or resolution for you tonight. Is there any questions on this item?
Any questions?
Can I add a point, Madam Chair? I just want to reiterate something I said in the work session, which was that we've been trying to communicate proactively and as early as possible so that we can be as transparent as we can be while honoring the request for expediency from the Weber Housing Authority. That was something I said in the work session. It's something that I want to impress upon all of us here, but also for anybody that didn't hear the work session but is just listening to this session tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks. Excuse me. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak in regards to this budget amendment?
Chair, seeing no hands online or movement in the chambers, I'd make a motion that we close the public hearing on this item.
Second.
We have a motion by Board Member Heyer, second by Board Member Blair to close the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Just need a motion then.
Chair, if there's no further discussion, I would propose we adopt the proposed resolution, or motion we adopt the proposed resolution 2025-2.
Second.
We have a motion by Board Member Ritchie, second by Board Member Heyer to adopt the proposed, is that what you said? Yeah. Adopt the proposed resolution 2025-2. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Blair?
Aye.
Board Member Chaburka?
Aye.
Board Member Graff?
Aye.
Board Member Myers?
Aye.
Board Member Ritchie?
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer?
Aye.
Chair White?
Aye. That passes. All right, comments from the Executive Director.
None at this time. Thank you.
Thanks. Any further comments from board members? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Board Member Heyer, second by Board Member Graff to adjourn. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you for your time.
There you go.